President Trump vowed that on day one in office, he would end the war in Ukraine. That didn't happen. Now he's given his special envoy 100 days to find a solution. Next month will mark 3 years since Russia's invasion. Almost since the start, American volunteers have been on the front lines fighting for Ukraine. And there's no exact count of how many, but the number of Americans killed and missing in action is growing. Some of their families find themselves targeted as they do whatever they can to try to get their loved one home for a proper burial. Nick Payton-Walsh reports from Ukraine.
America isn't sure it wants this war anymore, but some are still fighting it.
Move!
This rare footage of American volunteers in combat who are increasingly dying and missing in action. At least 20 now MIA, 5 cases in just the last 6 months, as they're used to urgently plug holes in Ukraine's defences. Fierce fighting has raged around Pokrovsk in the east for months. In the horrific web of bunker defences there, a 3-man American team were pinned down after their mission to blow up a bridge fell apart in September. Only one American survived, callsign Redneck.
Artillery kicks in bright and early, before the sun's even up, then followed by 2 helicopters coming in, attacking us with rockets. And then a boatload of drones, and the radio is screaming at us, prepare to fight, prepare to fight, prepare to fight.
Russian footage shows the intense fight back then. A drone strike hit 2 of the 3 Americans. One died of his injuries quickly, but the third, Zachary Ford, seen here, seemed to have been stabilised. Yet another attack was coming.
We weren't going to make it through another attack, so he started asking me to kill him so he wouldn't be captured. I refused, and then he called me over a couple minutes later, told me he loosened his tourniquets.
Ford was quickly dying from the blood loss.
He wanted to see the sun, so I laid him down with his head towards the door so he could look out and see the sun. And I just held his hand. As he looked at me and he said, "Never let it be said that the bastards killed me."
In order to pay the tribute to the warriors, defenders of the people of Ukraine.
The bodies of other fallen Americans have endured a public, distressing fate. Most are veterans, some keen to use their experience, others to help Ukraine.
He was respected and loved by everyone.
Honoured here in Kiev, former US Marine Cory Naroki, who was killed in Bryansk, Russia in October alongside another American. Their bodies were posted on social media, and even Cory's mother trolled online before lengthy negotiations returned their remains to Ukraine Friday.
Oh gosh, a whirlwind of emotions, like relief, but sadness. It's almost like a weight's been lifted off my shoulder because, sorry, because now I don't have to worry about what I think they might be doing to him over there.
But pro-Russian trolls didn't just post images of Cory's body.
They had posted a picture of my house, my full address. They would post all these nasty comments and, smiley faces and stuff like that.
Texan Lauren Guillaume helps identify dead foreigners, often through a gruesome trawl of morgues. She said foreigners are increasingly used in the toughest spots to fill urgent gaps in Ukrainian manpower.
It's increased dramatically in the past 6 months, and most of that is missing in action cases. We find that foreign operators do fill the gaps of very difficult, high-risk, high-reward operations. We think it is a reflection of how the battlefield looks right now.
Drones, artillery, impossible to get the bodies back.
Correct.
One of her first missions was getting Cedric Ham, a veteran from Texas, home. He died in Sumy region, was sent home with honours in Kiev, and found through his tattoos. His mother reads his old text messages.
I met people whose homes were blown up. I met people whose women were raped in front of them. I think God understands I'm doing a good thing. And that was my greatest fear, that my son was going to be used as a symbol of hate, because here he was as a foreign fighter helping Ukraine. And was so overwhelmed with joy that my son was located, that we were not going to have to wonder.
What do you remember as being the darkest moment for you?
knowing he's not going to be around. Pretty much that.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's just he was super funny and like could do anything and everything that I asked him to do. Very good son.
A war so much of America feels distant to, here, so very close to home.
Anderson, as we said, it's so many of these military veterans, some seem to miss soldiering, some urgently want to use their experience to help Ukraine. But what's been startling in reporting this story is to hear of the ghastly circumstances on the battlefield in which bodies and sometimes the injured even are abandoned, cannot be evacuated, the drones, the artillery, the intensity of the conflict, but also too how so many of these foreigners seem to be being deployed to the hotspots of the front line to urgently make up holes in Ukraine's manpower. Startling shortages in infantry we constantly hear about, and that's really, I think, playing to Russia's advantage here, Anderson.
Nick Payton-Walsh, be careful. Thank you.